Yeah, just got Zoom attendees, please use the raise hand option to be called on for public comment. Is there any public comment from the audience? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to move on to item C, additions and deletions. Are there any additions or deletions?
There are no additions or deletions.
Okay, great, thanks. So at this point, we're going to move on to item D, which is briefing and introductions. I'm going to turn that over to Assistant City Manager Paul Leone for our briefing.
Good evening. This is an opportunity to hear the presentation from the three community impact grant applicants and the 7 community impact applicants. The time for brief question and answer period following the presentation. Then time permits, so it's giving you instead of the grant and considered on awarding which funds to award it annually. Otherwise, another meeting scheduled for grant meetings or the grant meeting schedule. This current fiscal year 23-24 grant cycle, the community signed a 1 3-year $2,000 per year community impact grant and 3 1-year $10,000 community enhancement program grants would be awarded. Not all the grants need to be awarded if the commission chooses not to award the funds. The committee has the option of not making grant awards and fund for the future year. When we give you the supporting the matrix part of the packet, it's kind of designed for you during the presentation to kind of aid you in your thinking process. We're not going to total the scores up and say this person has the highest scores and kind of more for your person when you want to score it. And volunteers to help. I'm not making all 7, sometimes it's a little harder to remember some things. So. And that's what staff has. It's already here from the community impact. First of all, turn it back over. Now, from Mayor, let's say manager. I don't. Correct.
So just really quickly for the audience members and the CUP committee, this committee is made up of Forest Grove City Councilors, Metro Councilor Juan Carlos Gonzalez, and 2 community members, Marisa Delgado and Leslie Nunez, who is a person. So I just want to kind of give a background of how this works. And so Councilor Gonzalez and myself might be taking turns running the meeting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If I could just so hi everyone. I was going to mention the exact same thing as Mayor Renzel just shared. In case you saw some new faces up here that are usually at Forest Grove City Council meetings, and the Community Enhancement Program (CP) is a program done in partnership with the City of Forest Grove. There is a transfer station located in the city, and so for every ton of garbage that goes through that station, the city receives an allocation of $1, and then we're able to create community grant programs. Over the years, the program has evolved, and recently Metro has rolled out some recommendations to have, in addition to the traditional form of the community decision-making structure, to introduce non-elected community member representation. Of course, our elected community elected representatives are also community members, so that's an important distinction. So yeah, this is something that's happened for a few years in our community, and just so thank you for everyone attendance. It's just great. So back to you.
Great, thank you. Susan, do we is Evelyn Ward supposed to be a panelist or that's what, and then okay, and Mariana, you are unmuted. Just FYI, I don't know if you're.
Yeah.
Is there something you would like to say? Okay, we're going to move on to item E, which is community impact grant presentations. Each presenter is allowed 5 minutes to present. A 2-minute question and answer period will be provided at the conclusion of each presentation. So,
all our presentations. Is there anybody on the panel that needs the possibilities to or any follows with respect to the grants?
can you say that?
Is there any member of the CP committee that wants to want or potential conflicts with respect to the grant?
I do. I'll be recusing myself from the vote, although it will be still participating in the conversation because I'm going to be presenting for the city club today. And I would like to disclose that for item F, the community enhancement grant presentations, presented 3 friends of the historic forest bureau. My mother-in-law is probably not the president anymore, has been president, is presenting on it. But I do feel like I can be fair in that advice. If no one has a problem with that. Anyone else? So really quickly, can I ask a question about council president? So you're gonna be a part of the discussion for the community impact grant, but not vote? Correct, I will not be voting. I've never had that happen. Like if someone
I asked the receivers receiving any financial minority meeting, not getting into your financial interest in the grants, not having a very problem with respect to the grants, so.
Okay. At this point, is the council comfortable with that? In the past, I have, when I have recused myself from the voting, I have participated in the discussion. If there needs to be a conversation about comfort, I am open to that. I do have, like, my initial replies, I'm not super comfortable with that because I feel like it's really hard to switch hats. And so during that discussion, you get more minutes than the other presenters, like making your case. And so in the interest of fairness, that's my hesitation, is that there's 5 minutes and 2 minute period of time. So that's what they get. So if we're, that's, I guess that would be my concern with the discussion.
I would recommend, I share your hesitation, Mayor. There might be an opportunity for us in the community to have a conversation relating to your grant. Might create an opportunity as long as they don't, you do not discuss or, intend to sway the vote of the decision makers, either in the chambers or out of the chamber. Then I would see, I think it would be okay for you to discuss the other applications. And I think in the process, just in light of fairness, and I also really appreciate the proactiveness of declaring and wanting to explore that. Just want to mention that. How do you feel?
Yeah, I think that's a good compromise. You'd like to participate with the other ones, that makes sense, and then not for that grant. They're both grants.
Oh, yes.
Well, there's
grants, and so to make sure that there is no perceived conflict, I'm going to accuse myself of contribution of both grants as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are we good with that? Good. Okay. Staff, are we good to move on to the presentation? Okay, cool. So item E1 is the Mead Foundation. No, do we have our
Timer software, so.
I can see it.
No city staff. No worries. You worry about the presentation. That's all right. Thank you.
Did you have a handout to give?
Sure. If you would like, we can do a 30-second verbal, 4 minutes and 30 seconds for all the presenters, and how you wait 30 seconds left. Is that okay?
Yeah, that'd be great. So there's students wearing the blue beaches.
Is it okay to start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen of the Forest Grove City Council and the Community Enhancement Program Committee, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of the Mead Foundation and our board of directors. I apologize for our small showing today. Unfortunately, a majority of our board of directors are participating in another fundraiser tonight and could not be here due to this prior commitment. Our foundation's goal is to create a community space that fosters entrepreneurship and innovation in the heart of our beautiful city, a place where dreams can take flight and people can come together to build a brighter future for all. Forest Grove has always been a place where people come to gather and build strong bonds, support one another, and strive for a brighter future. Forest Grove has a rich history of nurturing local businesses and providing opportunities for citizens to contribute to the community's growth and prosperity. The Mead Foundation seeks to continue this tradition by establishing an entrepreneurial center right here in the heart of downtown. Our entrepreneurial center will serve as a hub for local entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and like-minded individuals, providing resources, guidance, and support they need to turn their ideas into thriving businesses. This includes workspaces, state-of-the-art technology, mentorship programs, and a diverse range of workshops and seminars designed to equip our talented community with the skills they need to succeed. Furthermore, the Entrepreneurial Center will act as a meeting place for people from different walks of life, fostering a culture of collaboration and knowledge sharing. By bringing together experienced business leaders, budding entrepreneurs, educators, and students, we can create a dynamic environment where creativity and innovation can flourish. By investing in our local entrepreneurs, we can create a more vibrant, sustainable economy, providing new jobs and opportunities for the people of Forest Grove. The benefits of this initiative will extend far beyond the walls of the Entrepreneurial Center, as the businesses that grow from this hub will revitalize our neighborhoods, attract new investments, and enhance the overall quality of life for our community. However, to make this vision a reality, we need the support of the Forest Grove City Council and the Community Enhancement Program Committee. The Mead Foundation is requesting the full community impact grant to cover the initial cost of establishing this entrepreneurial center, as well as the development of initial programming and resources. This grant will serve as a catalyst, enabling us to secure additional funding from private donors, corporate sponsors, and other community partners who share our commitment to fostering entrepreneurship and innovation in Forest Grove. We believe that this entrepreneurial center will become a landmark institution in our city, a beacon of hope and progress for those who dare to dream and work towards a better future. It will not only serve as a testament to Forest Grove's commitment to nurturing local talent, but also showcase our city as a leader in promoting economic development and self-sufficiency. In addition to fostering entrepreneurship, the Mead Foundation's Entrepreneurial Center will also actively engage with the local community. We plan to organize such events such as job fairs, networking sessions, scholarships, and pitch competitions, which will provide opportunities for citizens to connect with like-minded individuals and learn about new business trends and access valuable resources. Moreover, the Entrepreneurial Center will work closely with local schools and educational institutions to develop tailored programs that introduce young people to the world of entrepreneurship. By inspiring the next generation to think creatively and pursue their passions, we can empower them to become the future leaders of our city. As our business plan is currently designed, the minimum economic contribution to the city of Forest Grove within our first year of operation will be close to $250,000 when accounting for jobs created, contractors employed, and supplies purchased. This is counting from the letters of intent held by the foundation to create sublease spaces and jobs that do not already exist. In conclusion, the Mead Foundation's Entrepreneurial Center is a critical investment into the future of Forest Grove, our local entrepreneurs, and the generations to come. By supporting this initiative, our city will be taking a significant step towards securing the long-term growth and prosperity of our community. Thank you for your time and consideration. Together, we can build a brighter future for Forest Grove, one entrepreneur at a time, while fostering a spirit of collaboration and innovation that will resonate throughout our city and beyond.
Thank you. Questions from the committee? I have a question. I'll start. I have a few questions. So I know this owl is right
It is
away.
right
I'm
away.
feeling it too. I'm like trying not to be triggered by it. So I'm like taking breaths. Okay, so I have a few questions. Like, I just need, is this like workforce training? Is this, I'm trying to understand this entrepreneurial center. Is it to create workforce, like a workforce training for people, including young people? What is it? Can you give me more of a like specific scope of what will like someone goes into this center, like what are they going to come out? What are they going to do there, and what are they going to come out with to help them?
Yeah, our goal is to create programming depending on where the person is in their entrepreneurial adventure, is to figure out, how to create a profit and loss statement, how to create a business plan, how to read a balance sheet. What does that look like? Our goal is to catch kind of the entire scope of the entrepreneurial experience and build programming to match. And obviously that's going to require some boots on the ground and meet our audience and community where they are. So at the beginning, it might be a little fragmented because we're going to build based off the community that comes and gathers the space. But the idea is by year 3, 4, 5, we have a pretty structured program. That's, intermediate, beginner or advanced, if that makes sense.
Thank you. Counselor.
Thank you. I have a number of questions. The first question I have is,
30 seconds.
so,
Request for commission.
pardon? I have a few questions. Thank you for your presentation. The first question has to do with, in this program is interested in helping, historically, we're served people. So how do you plan on having that done at this point?
Diversity, equity, inclusion is an important catalyst and element of the foundation itself. I myself identify in the LGBTQ community, and I'm the chair of the Washington County Chamber of Commerce's LGBTQ Council. And as that chair, I actually am in close partnership with the Latinx, the Black Business Advisory Council, and the Asian Pacific Islander Council. So my goal is in partnership with them to find out how to approach these communities where they're at, and make it known that everyone is welcome at the center, that there's no barrier to entry from a financial standpoint to access the everyday programming.
So then you do plan on charging for some of the certain workshops and things?
The idea is that the core of the workshops are free, but if there is more advanced training, it is economical but it is served at a cost in order to be financially sustainable. So the goal is to offer core programming at no cost, but provide to help cover some expenses. Some of the advanced programming might require some small financial contributions.
And two more questions. One is, how do you differentiate yourself from PCC that provides the same kind of educational opportunities? Why are we doing some redundancy?
The idea is to create a community gathering space, a proverbial water cooler, where those in the entrepreneur space can gather and build community. So I did not, in my research, in the top 5 gathering spaces in Forest Grove, the 4 of them are wineries or breweries, and one of them is, the 5th one is the world's tallest barbershop pool. So, which I believe is outside in a field. So my goal is to create a space where people can gather that don't need to feel like they need to buy anything to participate in the experience.
So thank you. My last question has to do with outcomes. So other than giving us a list of the number of workshops that you've completed, how do we know that your programs and your workshops are actually having an impact on the community?
Our goal is to create scholarships and pitch sessions in partnership with a few other businesses. Our goal is to actually create an opportunity for entrepreneurs at any age to come in and present in a Shark Tank-like setting what their business is, and that they would bring a mini grant, so to speak, and maybe a office space at no cost to rent, at no rental cost to them for 6 months, as well as mentorship. So we hope to have that semi-annually to actually show true stories from beginning to end, rather than just numbers.
Thank you.
Chair Gonzalez.
Hi, thank you for the presentation and for taking the time to apply. You have a few comments. Most of the questions have been asked already. So, first and foremost, by looking through your application, I admire the commitment of private funds as well. There's a very, straightforward mention of the number of the pledges from board members that will be true to the organization. I'm involved with a lot of grants all the time, and so you can see a lot of proposals. And so I think, the first thing that comes to mind is, I have to be really honest. I'm not seeing enough of the impact that would happen with this massive 3-year commitment, from this grant program. I think it's really a great idea. It's a novel idea. I've seen innovation and entrepreneurship centers start, and then, it's really want to keep them going because of the churn of small businesses and things like that. So, I think I'm struggling to see the structure of how the money can be implemented with impacts it would make. And again, I think over the last 2-3 years, the state of Oregon has made historic investment in small business technical systems, workforce development. I mean, $100 million programs that, can fund $100,000 plus for a concept like this. And so, knowing the criteria of the grant program and, I see really strong leadership behind this proposal. Right now, I have machines, alignment, and this grant is the right fit for your idea of where you are and the impact this grant can make. So, sorry to be a little direct, but I think it's important to know you're investing your time, and I want to be really straightforward with you. So, I guess if you could share a little bit more about what you anticipate, being some of the more beyond the number of workshops you're able to deliver, talk to me a little bit more about if you're able to see that impact being over 3 years, especially. This is a 3-year commitment. And I'm not seeing enough on paper. So
Yeah.
sure.
I apologize. The preferred building space that we currently are the preferred tenant for is right across the street at the US Bank, and we actually have a 22-year lease letter of intent signed and agreed with the landlord. We're currently working out the details of whether that's one floor or the entire building. So it's definitely not a 3-year commitment on my end. It's a 22-year lease agreement. Obviously, it's a core 8-year lease, I'll be honest, and then there's extensions from there for the first 22 years. So the impact, when I say I want this to be a beacon of an institution for the community, it's not here for 3 years. I truly wanted this to be something that's lasting. Selfishly, I'm Jacob Mead, the Nate Foundation is named after me. So I'm not in this for to grab 90 grand and walk away. My goal is to build the community up from there. So from there, in its core, and I apologize, I'm going way over time. In our core business plan, as a business owner myself, we actually have intentionally, whatever we build will be economically sustainable from the ground up. We have a coffee shop for a drive-through that would be paying rent to the foundation that would make and then we have a few different office spaces for lease that would be renting out. So the core business plan of the foundation itself is to be self-sustainable. This would get us to the next level for our initial round of funding. So this isn't although my ask is for 3 years, if you could grant 22-year commitment, I would grant, I'd meet you halfway. But if that answered your question.
Yeah, and also, do we only have until 6:30? Seven. Okay, all right. Okay, we need to check. All right.
Okay,
7.
for you, Paul.
You said you had a 22-year lease commitment.
It's a letter of intent right now, but
You had a price negotiated.
correct.
We're looking at leasing that building. Brings you to us on that financial statements.
My prior experience was at working at Zoom Care and helping secure spaces, 36 spaces across the country for clinics. So in negotiating, I was able to, although that's not the list price, that is the price I was able to get.
And on the boat, once you guys start working on the building, it's kind of structural.
Yes, I went. My broker and I went to the space and could not get in because of the rent. It is currently owned, and my economic impact of where I say it's going to be at least $250,000. That's just in salaries created, because my understanding is the landlord is a couple down in California. So I'm not even including my rent as an economic impact, because that won't stay in the community. That'll just unfortunately go to California.
Okay, thank you very much. We're done, yeah. Thank you. So our next presenter is the Forest Grove City Club.
It's weird being on this side.
For sure.
Do you want me just to go through the CEP section and we're gonna do the CIP later?
Yeah, right now we're looking just at the community impact.
Okay, thank you for having me. I'm Donna Gustafson. I'm the president of the City Club of Forest Grove. The City Club of Forest Grove has been in existence for over 20 years and consists of volunteers. There are no paid positions in the City Club. Some of the events that we host and promote and run, you may be familiar with: Holiday in the Grove, Oktoberfest, Trick or Treat the Merchants, Artisans in the Grove, and Holiday Light Parade. One of the primary goals historically of the City Club has been to assist with the growth and beautification and activity of the downtown center of Forest Grove. Pushing local purchases, promoting local businesses, and the City Club themselves with the events that we hold. We look local first for anything that we ourselves need to purchase, practice by example, banners, mugs for Oktoberfest, ornaments for the holidays. And we also are pushing youth entrepreneurships. We currently have 4 vendors at Oktoberfest that are all under the age of 18. So we do try to encourage our youth to be more active in the business world. Currently, we are reimagining what the City Club can be and how we can enhance what we're doing currently and build on our 20-year history. We will be enhancing and strengthening the partnerships with the schools, the cities, and other nonprofit organizations, which we've already begun doing. We plan on hosting and promoting community-led enrichment classes and events. Some of these enrichment classes will be led by the community themselves. In fact, the majority will be. We will be identifying and leading cleanup, enhancement, and maintenance of our downtown cityscape in collaboration with our businesses, our building owners, the City of Forest Grove staff, and the community. We plan on getting the community more involved in what's happening in their town through not just the classes, but activities that are fun for the community. We hope that we will have an opportunity also to be the leaders in the Main Street program should the council decide to adopt that program. We will be continually invoking positive change for the City of Forest Grove residents and nearby towns. And the long-term goal is to expand all of Forest Grove in not just the city center, the downtown city center, and possibly nearby towns to make it Western Washington County City Club. I did recently speak to one of the school principals regarding inclusion in Oktoberfest for fundraising, and he was thrilled that I contacted him and was hoping that in the future the city and the other groups do more outreach to all of the schools, because Forest Grove and Cornelius are blended in the school district. So we will definitely be concentrating more on outreach. The City Club is requesting the CEP funds to kickstart the organization's enhancements to become a leader and innovator in cityscape beautification, community involvement, and small business support.
Thank you. Question?
Yes.
Councilor.
Thank you, appreciate it. I think there's a need for what you described. But one of the questions that I have is regarding, understanding a little bit of the history. How do you differentiate yourself from the chamber?
That's a great question, and I'm asked that question often. One of the differences that Claudia and I have identified between the chamber and the City Club is the chamber focuses on, it's the Chamber of Commerce. It focuses on all of the businesses in Forest Grove that are members of the Chamber of Commerce. You must be a member for you to be a part of that group. And they promote the businesses in Forest Grove. The City Club, there is some redundancy, absolutely. But we are focusing also on the inviting appearance of Forest Grove, especially in the downtown area, and pushing a more community-led atmosphere. Instead of just focusing on businesses, we are inviting the community to be a part and start trying to reactivate more community involvement, which seems to have gotten lost in the shuffle. We are very heavy on events, and we will continue to increase our events as well. That will focus on events anybody can attend. You don't need to have money to attend them. It's fun for all.
Thank you. And the other question I had is, the city, as you know, city has a transit lodging tax. And part of that, under 70% of that money is dedicated to tourism. How do you plan on differentiating yourself or working with, collaborating with tourism coordinator?
Currently, I have started a relationship with Claudia Yakos at the Chamber, and we are doing really well at beginning our collaboration, and that will continue. As far as the TLTs, with the events that we have held, we promote them outside of this area. When we did Oktoberfest last year, we had probably 500 people that purchased tickets from outside of the area, some of them being from Idaho and Washington, Happy Valley. We are bringing people in just by using correct promotional tools.
Chair Gonzalez.
Thank you. I'm not sure if anyone else has questions, but.
Oh, go ahead. I can.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'll try to be quick here. Well, thank you. I think anytime community members want to come together to create vibrant and activity and thriving is always a good and noble concept. So I am wondering, the application feels a little incomplete, so I want to ask some questions. So for the level of funding being requested, unfortunately, there's no budget submitted or kind of explanation of budget, explanation of what would be done with $30,000 per year for 3 years, staffing, expenses, things like that. And so, if you could tell us a little bit more, I would appreciate it, because from what I am seeing on the application alone, it feels like, the group of community members want a project budget to do, fun projects, which is great. But I'm not sure if that's the right thing. So if you could just share.
Sure. I'll elaborate. Some of the promotions that we're doing that we need to boost a little bit will cost money. We're continuing to find new partners such as McMenamins. We just started a partnership with them with the Grand Lodge. So promotions, marketing, and a new website design that is going to take a little bit of money, as we all know. In addition, to get people more involved initially, that first 3 years, that money is necessary to really promote our events and our community forums, our civic engagement forums. Those are going to cost money initially until the ball keeps rolling. And then at that point in time, we will be self-sustaining. So we won't need this $30,000 a year grant. It's really going to be prominently led by volunteers with some possibility of having a part-time employee for that initial first 3 years. Wow.
Awesome, great. Yeah, I think in general, it would be nice to see those kind of hypotheticals forecasted over, because at the end of the 3 years, then you still gotta think about that. So anyway, just wondering, since that was one of the big areas where I thought we could have, also wondering in terms of the program goals that are set, 1 through 7. Can you mention which ones you feel this connects to? Because I also didn't see that in the application. Is it like number 7, number 6? Do you know anything like?
Which ones are you speaking of?
within the grant application, there's like a few different criteria in terms of, you know, competitive applications going through. There's 1 through 7.
The goals like provide programming, training, or there's like increase, reuse, recycle, waste prevention, improve environmental quality of area, preserve or enhance wildlife.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, sorry.
Got it. No, that's okay. So the program goals, and is that on the application? I thought that it was. The CEP goals? Yeah.
Yes. And again, I'm only asking because I didn't see the.
No, it's okay. This is gonna be a really, really big focus on number 1, the live, work, and play in vibrant communities. Safe and reliable transportation choices. Of course, we're gonna focus on those that are having a harder time getting into the downtown area and a hard time with parking, especially when they're just disabled. Everything that we're going to move forward with is going to be encouraging global change. And I mean, that's pretty much what we're focusing on as far as moving forward with the environment. I've got stuff on here. If there's something specific, the live, work, and play in vibrant communities is obviously going to be the big one. But all of these things are going to be in our back pocket.
Sweet. Great. Thank you. That's making sure.
Counselor Martinez.
I felt like when I read it, there weren't really a lot of concrete type ideas, exactly, you know, details of what you want to do. Let's see, let me go. So public art. So who's going to decide, where is that going to be? Does that make sense? What kind of art? I mean, we have a very diverse community, so everybody has their own perspective on art. So I'll start with that question.
Sure. So again, that falls back into the partnerships and working with the city and the other nonprofit organizations, bringing the schools in that are not just in Forest Grove, but Cornelius. We have a lot of not just talented residents, but students that come here and would like to show off their art. We would like to give them an opportunity to do that. And we would like to give not just the residents an opportunity to see that, but people outside of this area, which will be bringing more visitors. So although we don't have on this document, I didn't put any details on as far as, you know, what the step-by-steps are that we're going to be, but bringing more art and partnering with those groups that can bring more art is one of the goals. And you'll find that with a lot of the things that are on here is there are not details. I did not leave any details in here. It's a basic overarching community involvement, right? We're just really trying to get the community more involved to execute some of these goals.
And I understand that you can't put a lot of detail in here, but I felt I would have liked to see a little more detail here and there. Another area that I had a question about was where you talked about community enrichment programs. So people use that word a lot.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
What kind of?
I think it might want to be one of those words that it means to you what it means to you. What it means to us is enriching your knowledge. So for instance, you see a lot of paint classes, the wine and paint classes, that's an enrichment class. Teaching people how to fill out an application, that is an enrichment class. Teaching somebody about what the difference is between being a Republican and being a Democrat and maybe having conversations in a safe, open environment, that's civic. So all of these will be enhancing community knowledge and enriching their lives, really.
So what do you see as the focus for City Club for an enrichment? For enrichment programs.
Community. There is no singular focus. This is a community-based organization run by the community and created by the community and developed by the community. This will continue to be what do you want to learn? What can you bring to me? Do you know how to braid hair? Wonderful. We have 5 men that don't know how to braid their daughter's hair and they are single parents. They want to learn how to braid hair. And so we open the doors to you to come and teach how to braid hair.
So it sounds like more connections.
It's community.
We talk a lot. Okay. Are there any other questions from the committee? Yeah, so I think we're good.
Thanks.
Thank you. Our final community impact grant presentation is the Hope Community Network organization.
And we have, Mike Pearl on there is actually gonna be presenting the grant.
You want to promote?
If is that the way for him to be heard?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great, thank you.
Okay, can you all hear me?
Yes.
All right, good, thank you. Good evening, Mayor Wenzel, city councilors, and representatives from Metro. Hope Community Network has a goal of providing a house of hope for the homeless in our city. We are following the Housing First model. It was developed in Finland to help house their homeless. They learned that when people have a place to stay that is safe, secure, warm, and where they can maintain their personal hygiene, eat well, and regain their dignity, they're much more likely to get off the streets. While a nonprofit landlord may sound novel, it's not really a revolutionary idea. There are other housing operations nearby, such as Fresh Start for people being released from prison who others do not want to house. There's Kim's Place that caters to trafficked women who are trying to reestablish their lives. These operations have proven that providing a safe, clean place increases the success rate of getting people back into the mainstream. House of Hope will provide a low barrier, safe route to reducing homelessness. And let us say and be clear, our focus is strictly on Forest Grove. We intend to purchase a home, preferably one that can accommodate 5 to 7 people, each in their own room, their own safe space. As you are likely well aware, right now we don't have the funds to purchase such a home. So we intend to rent until we can purchase and use the CIG funds to hire a house manager and clean things up in a home that we rent. A house manager is key to the success of the house. How will we operate such a rental, you're probably asking? Well, practicing good financial stewardship, we intend to house only those who are already registered with the Washington County HMIS system, so they will have a housing voucher that covers their rent. We will use those vouchers to pay for our lease, waste management services, water, electricity, etc. Our innovative approach will provide direct services to the people in our town while simultaneously supporting diversity, equity, and inclusion. We have admission requirements, contracts, and house rules that each tenant will have to read and sign. Tenants will have roles and responsibilities for cleaning their rooms, common areas, as well as home maintenance and yard pickup. As our tenants are registered and known to HMIS, they will have direct on-site access to the support services that treat such things as addiction and mental illness. It should be noted that Hope Community Network was just approved as a service provider by Washington County. Additionally, the House of Hope will be supporting Forest Grove's upcoming time, place, and manner rules. As a sign of our community engagement, we have a person who is from Forest Grove, has experienced homelessness, and who is on our board of directors and has agreed to be the House of Hope manager. I'm introducing you to Daniel Boone to tell you what it means to have the House of Hope available for him and others. Daniel?
Well, yeah, you can just to find hope in humanity yourself out there, there isn't it. I mean, without someone, like the difference between shelter and a home, like love and care and all that stuff can happen out there. Shelter isn't a home. It's not the same thing. People like throw the word shelter out there and all that stuff, but it's not the same as a house or a home, or even just by people helping you. You have to have somebody helping you, because even when I got sober and clean, like I went to my parents' house, but I had somebody helping me like as a home, like was fed and all that stuff, because you can't do it by yourself. I mean, there's no way to improve your life without help I mean, you can't cook for yourself, you can't take care of yourself. You know, there's no, I mean, like future to recover without somewhere to be, and you need access to other amenities and other things to, you know, advance your life, to eventually get a job and join the community, like I have. And it just took me 5 years or about 4 years to get a job, but, you know, it still takes a lot of effort goes into getting people out, everything that goes along with homelessness. You know, it's not just, you know, it's the time you've been out there and the time you spend is drastic. It causes a lot more trouble than you think. It's pretty harsh. Okay.
Thank you,
Hey.
Dan.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Mike.
Is Mike here again? I just want to, Mayor, I just want to tell you that I am having a very difficult time hearing anything that you up on the dais are saying. So if there's any questions, Hope, our treasurer, will answer those questions.
Great, thank you. Sorry, I have to move back and forth because of our technology, so I'm not speaking into the microphone sometimes, so I do apologize for that. We're gonna start with questions and I'm gonna ask Chair Gonzalez first.
Yes, I have one. Well, yeah, thank you so much for coming today, and you know, congratulations on all the hard work.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, it's just incredible, and you're just, thank you for being here.
Yeah, no, it's nice to join the community, like actually be part of it. You know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I never was a part of it before. It's like this is a whole new side for the world to me, so it's pretty
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, so just a little bit of context type question. In 2020, Metro passed the support housing services measure, which has created a record level of funding to support organizations like yours, funding programs. I think Washington County is going this year, their allocation 50 million to be close to 90 million next year. And so just this kind of shows the size of impact that is available with the funds there. And you know, I think I'm really happy. My first question would be, have you contacted the county? It sounds like from my response, yes, which is excellent. And enrolled service provider, yes, excellent. So those are really good kind of foundational questions that I was going to ask that were addressed. You know, I'm wondering if you could share a little bit more about what the progress of those conversations have been like. So the first question. Second, in your application, you mentioned that there are no other organizations in Forest Grove doing housing first. There are at least 2 or 3 that I know of. So anyway,
I'm not sure we worded it that way, but maybe.
yeah, no, so it's just like, you know, there's one company, and we can always do more, but you know, it's 2 years. So I think I'll just start with that first question.
Yeah.
Tell me more about the conversation there.
Yes, thank you. We have been involved for quite a while, and most of these city councilors know us from our constant involvement with the city government and also with Washington County. But you know, even though they have all those funds, those are very hard to get out to Forest Grove. And we still have 0 facilities to house people in Forest Grove whatsoever. They don't exist. We have potentially a pod village at some point, and you know, some things like that are on the horizon, but there's nothing right now. So we feel like this housing method is very efficient way to get people into housing that, you know, landlords can understand. But we addressed it a little bit. I think there was a question about how this was a gap in Forest Grove.
Yeah.
And how we were trying to fill that gap, so that might help understand a little bit more of what our plan is.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I mean, in the future, we will probably be able to get SHS funding and do even more projects and more work and, you know, different housing retention and
Yeah.
lots of different things. But right now, we don't have anything, and there's very limited services in Forest Grove.
well, I would love to, you know, follow up with you and see how we can put together to access those. You know,
Yeah,
I really
be
think
awesome.
that, a RANK program for your organization is SHS, because I mean, the ceiling for opportunity is just so much different than this.
Yeah,
You know, and on the, you know, I do want to acknowledge again that there are shelter beds and programs. There's a project turnkey acquisition before it comes in, there's 20 beds there, there's, you know, the city is working on stuff. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that there are programs, but we can always.
yeah, and the worst of it is geared towards families, so there are families that get sheltered there, but there's really nothing substantial for individual people.
Okay, excellent.
That's kind of-
Yeah, that's why I asked the question.
Yeah, sorry.
Really great, really.
I didn't mean to negate their work, because they're doing amazing things, but yeah, it's really for families, so we don't have it anywhere for just individuals.
Okay, thanks. I think that's my questions for now, and I think it's fair.
Are there any other questions by the committee?
Mariana.
Oh, sorry, Mariana. I'm looking at the.
That's okay. Can you all hear me?
Yep.
All right, I'm on grandmother duty right now, so please forgive me. Thank you so much for your presentation. And now on the application, you mentioned that you wish to house 5 people approximately, and that Washington County would be paying for that. I understand the process. I understand how that works. I'm so sorry about that. She was really quiet a minute ago.
We can't hear her, so.
Never mind, just keep going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. My question is, it's still going to be a transitional place, right? How long do you expect these residents to stay in this home? And then transition into an apartment, something by themselves?
That's our plan. These housing vouchers, when they get qualified for a voucher, it's good for 10 years at least. And so this home is gonna have training to help you kind of learn how to live inside again, and connecting you with services, trying to help you deal with, you know, addiction and mental health issues, all those kind of things at this home. But once people are more capable of handling living on their own, you know, that's the goal, is to get them into their own apartment or their own home with this housing voucher that they will always have, then it'll just go with them to their new home.
Okay, thank you for choosing to be part of the solution to the problem that we have. I appreciate it.
Any other questions, Councilor Martinez?
So one question I had, and somebody may have already answered it, but I don't understand all the acronyms for the different departments.
Yeah.
So I want to know, are you already connected with someone to help with the mental health aspects, you know, to help take care of?
Yeah, I mean, there are service providers that have funding to do this type of work for, you know, basically people that can't afford it. And like Sequoia is one that does mental health work. Also on our board is Athena Phillips, who she has her own business that does mental health work, but she's not contracted by the county yet to provide that at no cost, but she may be able to get there. But yeah, we definitely have, there's a kind of a whole network of service providers that we can bring to the home. I mean, they do this stuff in Hillsborough and Beaverton already. It's just that none of them are directly out here, and there's not a location that's real accessible. You know.
One comment I want to make is several years ago, I watched a program where they showed the homeless community that they lived in tiny homes. And so I see where a home type residential place for that, it would be much more feasible, or I would think much better for helping people to get back into the community than some of the other options that we've had.
Yeah. Shelters are difficult for people because it's just a giant room with a whole bunch of beds, and that's a hard way to live, especially if you're struggling with mental health or addiction issues. So we're feeling like having your own bedroom, you know, will help with a lot of that. But then the home being all together builds like a community and everybody works together to make the home run, you know, so. Serves multiple purposes.
Any other questions from the committee? Thank you. Good. Thank you, Hope. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, James.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Each one.
There is one house that we have talked to them. We've got the application. We haven't submitted it yet because we don't have enough funding to do it, you know, on our own right now.
Work in development to make sure your zoning requirements and you might be considered a group home that got business or issue.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't worked directly with planning, but we've talked to several other people that do these types of group home things in Forest Grove. And, you know, specifically, I'm friends with a woman who has 2 like elder care type group homes. And she's saying that you really can't stop anyone from putting this into a neighborhood if you're just renting the home, or you're, you know, you're just like a landlord and you have tenants. Like you can't really.
Yeah. Several, the states that are sitting more than my.
Okay, okay. Well, we can check into that. Okay, yeah, we'll check into that for sure.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And I'm doing the next one, so I'll just.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to item F.
Just want to make, I want to tie what Paul was saying. So from my perspective, getting a grant like this requires you to be in compliance with city code,
Yes,
not to say, you can't stop us. That's not.
no, I mean, it was like, she was referring more to like the neighbors. There was nothing that the neighbors could technically do because what she was doing was within law and was up to code, you know, was meeting the requirements, so. She just felt like that made it easier to, you know, understand for the neighborhood. Is what I was referring to, but yes, we of course would do everything to make sure we were compliant.
Okay, we're gonna move on to item F on the agenda, community enhancement agreement presentations. Each presenter is allowed 3 minutes to present and a 2-minute question and answer period will be provided at the conclusion of each presentation. So item F1 is Hope Community Network.
Okay, hello, I'm Hope Kramer, and I guess I didn't introduce myself very well last time, but I am the treasurer of the Hope Community Network. And our network currently acts as advocates for homeless, and we help individuals receive services in our community right now. Our goal is to help individuals experiencing homelessness find a home. Our plan is to lease a house in Forest Grove near the bus line or other services and accept tenants to the house that have received ARLA vouchers from Washington County Supportive Housing Services and our residents currently of Forest Grove. There is currently nowhere in Forest Grove for homeless people to reside that aren't in families. And we feel like this is the quickest way to get people off the streets and into a supportive housing arrangement. While being low barrier, we have developed a strict set of acceptance guidelines, house rules, and a system of governance. Our plan is to be a nonprofit landlord who understands homelessness and provides connections to help tenants improve their lives. This funding is crucial to getting us into a house faster. We will use the funds for the first and last month's rent, a security deposit, and the initial insurance policy for the house. This project will become sustainable as we're able to collect rent from the tenants paid directly by Washington County. This project touches on almost every goal outlined in the grant proposal, especially also the city council goals for 2022, which was included support housing stability. So we appreciate accountability in each other and our plan, and to you as the grant givers. We know Forest Grove will want to hear how it is going, and we plan to share statistics and personal stories with the community. We want this house to feel like a house that the community built. We are interested in input from other residents, and we are committed to being transparent and accountable for the approach and the funding we receive.
Thank you. Question? I'm gonna actually ask a question. I want to circle back to Chair Gonzalez's question. So with the SHS funding, hopefully you can hear me. Where are you at with that? Was it that you had to be,
So the first step is you have to get approved as a vendor.
and you are,
In Washington County, we did get approved as a vendor. Then the next step that we've been explained is that Washington County will then have contracts for specific services that they will then ask you to submit, applications to become their contractor for them. It might be competitive as well. And then if they choose you, then they would give you the contract.
there's no, they did not provide you all with the timeline.
No.
Thank you. Any further questions? Okay, I think we're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next presenter is the City Club of Forest Grove.
Hello, Donna Gustafson again.
Thanks,
City Club President. We are requesting the funds for tree lights for downtown Forest Grove. And I'm a parent of 6, and I know it's really bad parenting to say, why can't you be more like your brother? I understand that. But one thing that I hear often from not just the businesses downtown, but from residents is, why can't we have what Carlton and McMinnville have? So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to enhance the downtown little bits at a time. And we are in conversations with Light and Power and with the city manager regarding a possibility of adding more holiday lights in the downtown area. And these holiday lights may be the lights that loop around the trees that we can also keep throughout the season. So they would not just necessarily be seasonal lights. They could be the lights that are usually hung in trees and light up the downtown area on a more frequent basis, bringing more joy for everybody. I realize this is very ambiguous, but it is Christmas lights and the electrical that would be required to install these Christmas lights that could be used throughout the season as just an enhancement to the downtown.
Thank you. Question? I have a question. Like, Wes, I don't have to raise my hand. Sorry, I'm focused. It's been a really long week. I'm just curious about program goal 2. So increase, reuse, recycling, and waste prevention opportunities. So with the decorations we have now,
Right.
what's the plan?
The plan is to continue using them. So wherever we are lacking decorations, we will be reusing those decorations that we have currently. But again, we're talking about tree lights at this point in time. So the decorations that are on the poles currently, those will remain. We obviously have a big picture for in the future for, a more vibrant holiday light above and with the light poles and everything. But this is specific to the basic tree lighting for the holidays, which can be used throughout the season because they're just the white lights.
And I'm like, till I go ahead and base on my memory, because I thought I was gonna have time to have my husband bring my computer. But was there a budget or like a plan, like a cost? Okay, so you
Do we have a budget?
You didn't look at, like the types of lights and the cost of that installation, so I'm just wondering if in this proposal, the cost to have, our volunteers hanging these lights up, I know from experience that this is a huge undertaking, right? And Miles Shark's done it, my mother-in-law's done it, Keith Morgan like that. So I'm just kind of wondering the plan of carrying this out, the cost of the materials, the pain of who we're paying to do this, is it volunteers? I was just wondering, the plan.
So the plan is in the process. the checks in the mail, so to speak. We are working with the city now, and they are finding out what the cost is going to be to basically plumb for all the wiring that would connect each tree so that we can light the trees up. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Where are these trees located that you're talking about?
Downtown, the trees. Just on Main Street.
Does this have anything to do with the tree, the holiday tree that's over by the senior center?
No, this is completely different. This is the trees that are lined up, and I don't know if you've been to McMinnville or Carlton, they have their trees lit up, not just during the holidays, but 100% of the time. And so that would be this, except for instead of just at the holidays, they would be lit. Kind of like, I think over by MJ's, they do that during the holiday. I think it's during only the holidays. They have their little corner trees lit because they have an outlet there. So it would be very similar to that. But it would not have to be taken down each year and put back up. Again, this is with collaboration with the city of Forest Grove.
Derek,
Yeah, unless that's what you want to continue.
No, I'm done. Thank you.
Yeah, I think, so similar to the question that Council Ricky was making, I mean, I think, well, first and foremost, I think it's hard to make a grant decision if like the costs aren't fully baked, you know, we're still in the process of figuring things out. I mean, that's hard, you know, to make a decision on these resources. I mean, like, you know, I think there's like, maybe you haven't answered this question, right? But like, what number of trees that you're going to focus on? How many boxes of lights, you know, per tree, you know, that we multiply? And I just think that although the idea is great and there's really wonderful inspiration, I think my worry and with inflation and with cost of goods and services that, you know, the project will start and then the realization will be, whoa, we can't actually deliver. And so I think I'm just worried about that right now. So, I mean, if there's anything you can share about that.
Correct. So if there's a gap between the cost of the lights and what we have for this grant, for instance, we would be seeking outside funds from donations for people who also want to see enhancements in the downtown area. This is definitely a smaller amount of expense due to the fact that it's just the trees, and we're doing this as step by step, as I guess it's been done in the past. They requested this grant. So again, it's a small enhancement. Do not have an exact budget at this time. My apologies.
It's okay. I mean, that's what I'm asking.
Sure.
I don't need to ask questions for your thoughts. I mean, have you been able to speak with, you know, neighboring cities that you live, that you reference, like, hey, how much should your program cost? I know you're working with city managers and to try to figure out like that might cost them that in Forest Grove, but you know, to kind of share other. You mentioned a little bit about inspiration, so I'm wondering about like research and things like that.
Looking at other cities is the inspiration that we've received. But again, this isn't something that, other than the electrical costs increasing and of course breakage, replacement, that sort of thing, which is really dependent on the area. This isn't going to be something where we're putting the lights up and then taking them down. We're paying somebody to do that because they're going to go up. These are the basic white lights. These are going to go up in the trees and stay in the trees, and will be able to be enjoyed by everybody throughout the seasons. All seasons.
Councilor Martinez. One thought I have is everybody wants to focus on Main Street, but really it seems to me like more of the traffic is on Civic. So I don't, that's just my comment.
I don't disagree with you. And I don't want to bounce back over to the CIP with the city club and the community and then pushing out to all the other neighborhoods. But this is based on just the heart of the city, which in most cities is considered their main street area, same with Hillsborough, so on and so forth. So yes, this is focused in the downtown, Old Town area. But that's not to say that this won't expand, and that again is the intent on the previous grant request, was to expand that program to the entire city and not just the downtown area, but that was the previous one, so I don't want to go into that because my time is up for that one. Does that make sense?
It's just, it's something I'm gonna have to figure out with other staff and counselors. Thank you.
Can I ask one more
Yeah.
question? Thank you, yeah. So the evaluation criteria, there's a question in number 2 that how well does the project create benefit or underserved population to the project activity? And in your application, you say that, you said the target audience is everyone regardless, so, which is, I think it's cool. I think there is a criteria to talk specifically about intention for reaching underserved. So, with different, whatever that means. So I'm wondering, I guess like there's a second chance to answer that question and share something with us.
Let me make sure I understand the question. You're speaking primarily about outreach or how this affects multiple people in the city. Is I didn't catch all of it. I'm so sorry.
Okay, so evaluation criteria
Mhm.
for the questions is how well does the project create benefit for underserved populations through the project activities partnerships? You did not answer that in the grant. You mentioned this is for everyone, so it's kind of like it's kind of going around the question.
Sure.
So that I'm trying to offer you the opportunity to
Answer more directly. Okay. You caught me. Yes, it is for everybody. It doesn't cost anybody anything to enjoy those lights when they're in the downtown area. But again, this request is associated with the previous request, and the hope is this is step 1 in a continuation of growth that will touch everybody in the city and then hopefully expand to our sister cities next to us.
Great, I think we're good.
Okay.
Thank you. Item F3, Friends of Historic Horse Grove.
Good evening, all. Thank you for working with the CEP grants over these many years that they have been in place, and the evolution that has taken place throughout the process. There has been a lot of change, and I'm having really, did I give my name even Mary Jo Morelli? I'm really having a really hard time not being diverted by other things that I have experiencing from past years. So, but I am here to make an application on behalf of Friends of Historic Forest Grove for another project on the Alvin T. Smith House. The Smith House is one of the earliest structures built in Forest Grove, within what is now the city limits of Forest Grove. And only 2 structures in Forest Grove were part of an American Historic Buildings Survey that was conducted in the 1930s. And the other was Old College Hall, which Mr. Smith did help to build. Forest Grove is the only city in Washington County that has 4 national historic districts. And in order to have those historic districts, there has to be a density of contributing structures within the designated space of historic districts. I'm mentioning that, however, the Smith House is on the National Register individually, as is Old College Hall and about 12 other buildings identified, but not inside a district. The Forest Grove has CLG, Certified Local Government Credentials, and that elevates Forest Grove's ability to get funding through the State Historic Preservation Office. The relationships have always supported there. The Historic Landmarks Board has benefited from those, and many of our historic property owners have
benefited through that association. Now I want to tell you about a book. And Melinda, stop laughing. She knows this family, this family. I want to tell you a little bit about this book. The book is the title of the book is Americans Interpret. Pardon me?
30 seconds.
You're kidding. I'm just getting started. Americans Interpret the Parthenon. The first photo in this book is the Alvin T. Smith house. This book is exceptionally hard to find, and it is about the Greek Revival architecture west of the Mississippi, out as far as Oregon, between 1800 and 1860. This house certainly qualifies. The author of the book became the chief historian for the National Park Service, and I will answer any questions you have from there and see how we can do.
Thank you. Questions? From the committee? I'll start with a question. So I think for me, what I would like you to address is the first criteria and the second criteria of how well does this project deliver, impact, and address the community needs. And then we'll start with that.
Okay. Criteria 1, Forest Grove has dedicated significant resources to tourism development. Culture and heritage have a huge role to play in the development of our tourism resources.
And I'm going to follow up with question criteria 2. How well does the project create benefit for underserved populations through the project activities and partnerships?
I find the term underserved is very broad, and it speaks to our past as well as our present, and it affects our future. We have an opportunity to educate our community members as well as visitors of the diverse history that has contributed to Forest Grove over time. Some of those items would be the indigenous people who occupied this land, agricultural workers that have made our economy work over the years, railroad laborers who installed much of our infrastructure that is still in use today, forestry workers that have sustained the economy of this area for many years, and those all contributed to the people who are working to improve the lives of their families, and it continues today.
Thank you. Any other questions? I was wondering who owns the house?
The house is owned by Friends of Historic Forest Grove, which is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that has existed for over 30 years. Over those 30 years, we have done an amazing amount of fundraising. We have received many, many grants totaling around close to $200,000. The grants that we have received from the city of Forest Grove previously have totaled about 195,000. Let's see, Forest Grove Friends has received from various funding agencies $195,000. Funding from CEP grants during this time has totaled $31,000 to date. And those funds have funded the water supply for firefighting purposes, electrical upgrade, window restoration, as well as painting the house.
Sharon.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. I just want to thank you for very detailed application and listening addressing the outcomes of detailed budget. So just want to thank you. I have a question for our staff, actually. I feel like in the last 2 to 3 years, we had a conversation, but my memory, I just can't remember. Maybe you have a part somewhere. We had a conversation about investments into property renovations. Is this like, does this ring a bell for historic homes? It's okay if not. I might be.
For the AT Smith specifically, or?
Yes, yes.
So in the American Rescue Plan, and the budget, the city council did appropriate, I'm trying to remember the exact amount of funds, but it was generally currently there's a gravel lot to the north of the AT Smith House. It has piles that, and the city owns that property. And there's piles of kind of asphalt and gravel and.
I meant more with the CP.
I'm saying,
Yeah, with the CP, sorry.
The city moves on, we did many grants for this sort of landmark portal, we took away many grants, all of the conditions. The Smith House previously received CDP funds, and it's DP fund, but I don't recall off the top of my head. Grants spending numbers still, specific conversation along the lines.
Yeah, I was right, I figured the board and commission.
Yeah.
It's like some,
The meeting program was so that.
okay, that will be, maybe you already had your shot.
I was like, I didn't want to try to save it too, but.
No, okay. Okay, great. That's wonderful. So I'm glad someone break that. So, right, there's no issue for that for me.
Well,
Thank you.
that, my comment about Forest Grove being a certified local government alluded to that, and how the landmarks board, having been a chair of the historic landmarks board in many years ago. I know how the work and the benefits that Forest Grove has seen through having our historic surveys accomplished has been through the support of being a CLG and the support of the State Historic Preservation Office. And through all those things, Forest Grove, Friends of Historic Forest Grove is just always appreciated the trust that's been placed in our organization for these many years. We've met a lot of obstacles over the time, survived volatile economic times, but we have over 30 years of experience, and we have made tremendous progress in this house that is a heritage and cultural resource to Forest Grove.
Thank you. That answers my.
I think we're good. No other questions? Thank you. Okay, item F4, presenter from Foodways at Nana Gardens. So it's the one for each number here, and then 17 meetings, right? Hello. Hello. So nice to be here. I haven't been before this committee in quite a few years. So it's nice to be here again. I've received some Metro CDP fund grants in the past for my work with Lyle Spichard at Tuolumne Plains Great Grains, and also funding for Foodways at Nana Gardens, which is an agricultural learning center. So you're being presented with a placemat that comes from the activities that I have at Nana Gardens. I'm tired today. I had to go walk around because I had yesterday 27 4th and 5th graders at my table for 3 hours, and today 22 1st and 2nd graders. So I wanted to get you just some pictures of the funds that I'm asking for. And so I have the first page you'll see is an event and learning structure project, and outlines a little bit about what I've been working on and what I would like to have funds for to enhance this work. I have many classes coming up. I've been funded by a grant from Tuolumne Valley Soil and Water Conservation District for 2 years of classes at Nana Gardens, 20 classes each year. So I'm pretty excited about that, and I've enumerated in the grant where those who and will be involved in those classes. So certainly the community school I mentioned. I have CALC tomorrow, Community Alternative Learning Center. I'm so excited. We're going to cook Oregon Trail food together. So
and then they're going to the museum. I also will be working with Rose Buckeye. She's there on top. Rose operates a nonprofit in Beaverton. I've had several meetings with her. I will be working with her to provide education and support for Islamic and Muslim women from around the world. Also, I have been and will continue to be an Adelante Mujeres Agricultura site for graduation and also for classes that they do on our farm. You see the Pacific University permaculture class. I am supported in infrastructure of technology and also work on my farm by interns from Pacific University. And on the bottom, you have the forest growth roots and shoots group that comes to my place often. The last piece you have is a diagram of this structure that I want to apply for the funds from in this grant to make it so that I have a durable structure for both for all year round and for other events. I wanted to also mention that over the years, there's been many thousands of dollars raised in fundraising dinners at my home for Adelante Mujeres and for Tuolumne Plains Great Grains. So, okay, I'm time. You're done. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna start off with a couple questions. If the committee doesn't mind. I think you do a great job. There's a lot of things I like about your program. I think you do a great job working with Cal and Cal. For those of you who don't know, is the alternative.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, it happens. Is the alternative high school for forest growth and Cornelius. And so I think really with the older group of under that means I think number two of benefiting underserved populations, especially with like food, producing food and making food. But I'm wondering, what is, I'm just gonna be blunt, like, have you reached out to Echo Shaw and Cornelius? And I think, with the community school, my son goes there, but I'm just wondering, this is just an assumption I'm making, it's not based in research, but I know that like Fernhill, Cornelius and Echo Shaw, like potentially those students don't have the ability to work with food and to grow food and to cook with food. And so I'm just wondering, are you gonna reach out to those schools and include that in bringing them up to the structure and this? I mean, you have a really good system. And so do you have the capacity to extend this to more people, and will you?
I do, and I think that there's the acceptance there now, because I think we've come through COVID and now the educators realize that it's really about our mental health more than it is about building our SAT scores. And so I'm prepared to take in the city of Forest Grove and neighboring schools once they're okay to travel. Right now I work with the after school programs like Roots and Shoots, but I aspire to work with the school district, not just the charter school, but the community school.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councilor Martinez and Councilor.
Where is this located?
I'm located on Willamina, and I am at the edge of the city, what used to be the city. We have been annexed into the city several years back, but I live on Willamina, just off of Highway 47 and Sunset Drive. And so my entire street is still on septic system, so it's not allowed to be built in. And so I'm just aging in place as the property was platted in the 50s. So it's an acre of active farm, riparian zone attention and habitat and teaching facilities.
Thank you, Councilor Reed.
So this would be on private property.
Yes, it would be.
And there's really, and so that answers my other question. It's not close to public transit.
Well, yes, we see, I have Adelante Mujeres Campo interns that come with public transportation. Not just not the bus that stops over here, but the bus that connects to that comes to the end of my street.
Okay. And so then the only parking available is on the street.
The parking would be available on the street, and I have neighbors that have given me several spots
as well. So
And but if you're working with schools, are school buses also been parked?
yes, I have the cooperation of the school district that I work with for the after-school clubs, and they send the bus with the children, and he comes and takes them away.
So it doesn't stay there.
No,
Because that would
he
block
comes,
the street.
right, comes and drops them off, and then he comes at a certain time.
Okay, and the last question I have is, then with regard to the kitchen facilities, are there going to be kitchen facilities associated with this structure?
Yes, there, on your diagram, there is an existing cucina. It's an outdoor kitchen that I've operated for 20 years. And I've been asked by the Forest Grove Foundation to actually come up with curriculum for the houseless community to cook outside. So we have 2 or 3 outdoor cooking stations. That's where we, and it's a closed system, so that our rocket stoves, our ornals, our ovens and things are used with trees and the orchard management. So it's a pretty self-sufficient piece of property for self-sufficiency. I wanted you to also note that on my design here, which is done by friend Greg Treball, that the people who are cooperating with this program are all friends or family. So they're people that you know, Forest Grove people. So, and I'm excited to be the contractor for this project. I've done other projects like this, and I'm ready to go.
Co-chair, excuse me, Chair Gonzalez.
Yeah, just I'll be really brief. Thank you for excellent application. I think that you wrote an application responding to the criteria and questions. I think that program that you suggested, that you're suggesting or recommending, strong budget, volunteer match, and importantly, a proven track record. And so I think it will be a good, in my opinion, a good investment of grant funds and something that will be deliverable. And I think that I can be so, complimentary because all the questions have been asked already. So I just really want to appreciate the strong application submitted. And really for addressing some of the deep criteria, the program goals that Metro has set, and the intention behind the program.
Thank you very much. I wanted to update, since the application was filled out, we have done a thorough investigation of the outdoor cucina now as it is. And it's my friends that advised me on the design have stated that the overall structure we're proposing will take every bit of the money. And we have the outdoor cucina is actually very well built. It just needs some remediation in some of the footings. So there we have it. Thank you.
Okay. At 5, that would be the Forest Grove Elks.
Getting older, it's harder to get up.
Thank you for waiting. We are like definitely over.
My name is Alice Custodio. I represent the Elks and our food backpack program. I'm here today to speak to you about the hunger issues of children and how the Forest Grove Elks have been assisting the Forest Grove School District in providing food for underserved, low-income children. 8 years ago, we developed a weekend food program. Students in the Forest Grove area receive free or reduced lunches during the week, and some also breakfast. But our concern is when they are not in school. How do they get fed, and what happens when they are not able to get good, nutritious food? Children who are hungry have difficulty concentrating in school. They are fatigued, and their bodies and brains do not develop at a normal rate. Therefore, they have poor learning skills, their attention span is limited, they have problem solving and memory issues. Hunger can also lead to stress, depression, or anxiety, leaving a child to have a low self-worth, and this in turn impacts their mental health. So since I'm talking about food, what a teacher does, teachers encourage minds to think, hands to create, and hearts to love. I'm trying to get the kids there by feeding them. That way, the teachers can do their job. We have gone from 37 students in 2015, of which 18 were homeless, giving a total of 549 weekend food bags. During COVID, we had 114 students, and with the help of Midco, 2,811 students had their food delivered to their doorsteps. We were able to feed entire families that year with about 35 pounds of food and fresh vegetables because of the assistance we had from Farms to Families and from the Daybreak Rotary with vegetables. Now we come to today, or well, as of May the 3rd, we have served at least 175 students once and have dispensed 2,971 meals. We still have 6 deliveries to go, so this will add about 750 more weekend food bags for approximately 3,721 deliveries to schools. That's this year. The schools that we provide, for are Cornelius, Echo Shaw, Fernhill, Joe Gale, Harvey Clark, Tom McCall, and we have one student from Oak Grove Academy, which is the north side of Tom McCall. We are a small community and our charitable work only helps a small portion who are in need. My estimate is that we serve approximately 700 family members each week for 35 weeks. The volunteers are not only Elks, but are non-Elks who are interested in helping our community. And could I have all my volunteers, please?
Hands up.
These aren't all of them. Several of them have other duties and some unfortunately have some illnesses. But I have 14 people that rotate in order to make certain that we get things done each week. And finally, one day, these children that we serve possibly could hold the same positions that you do now. My wish is that we do not have to discuss child hunger here when that day comes. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice. You're like pulling at this teacher's heart. Just telling you, getting me. Okay, so I'm gonna open it up to questions. Okay. Chair Gonzalez.
Yes, thank you for coming, and just appreciate your hard work, the volunteers for showing up, show strong community support, and especially in your budget, you also show the level of financial support and volunteer support we get. So just thank you to everyone for supporting. My question is on a collaboration level. We listed quite a few significant partners and very impressive. I have in my career been able to work with all kinds of food banks as well, food pantry programs, etc. And so I just know how much work and the importance that volunteers has to it. My question for you is, have you, as your organization, had the opportunity to connect with the Oregon Food Bank and strengthen partnerships and explore opportunities for collaboration? I mean, they do a lot in coordinating regional hubs, regional pantries, delivering food directly and things like that. So I'm just wondering what that has been.
We do connect with the Oregon Food Bank. However, we do have to connect it through a nonprofit 501c3 organization. The Forest Grove Elks is a fraternal organization. It's a 501c8. And therefore, the food bank wants us to have a supporting. And so I don't know their current name, but Rochelle, they took over the gas station over here. They help provide us with, well, let me start. They started out helping provide us with probably about 40% of our product. But over the last 10 weeks, we have been able to get maybe 10 to 15% of the items that we've requested, which has impacted us by having to go out, get more donations, either canned food drives, people volunteering, bringing stuff in, monetary checks have come in to supplant that. And so it's fluid. That's why I say almost all of our partnerships are open-ended. We go where we can, they give what they can, or they guide us to another direction.
Thank you. Food insecurity is a huge issue in our community, and just thank you
Any other committee questions? Okay, thank you,
you.
Alice. And thank you to all the volunteers speaking. Number F6, rebuilding together Washington County, Inc.
She had to leave for a board meeting.
So I will circle back, maybe after this next one,
And
or we can do it based on the application. What is staff?
typically what happens is the person, and based on the strength of the application. And I haven't seen any chamber.
Is there somebody from the chamber here to present their application? Okay, so at this point, then we're gonna move in co-chair, because keep me off the mic.
Evelyn may be your chamber.
Okay, Evelyn's raising her hand. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for pointing that out. Hello, Evelyn, sorry.
I'm not sure. Can you hear me? Am I?
We can't hear you. Can you
Okay,
turn off the-
awesome. Thank you. I was a panelist before, so then I I wasn't sure if I was coming through. Am I too loud?
No, you're
Good. I heard earlier it was pretty loud, somebody speaking from remotely. So I'm Evelyn Orr, and I'm actually just currently have been accepted on the board of the Forest Grove and Cornelius Chamber of Commerce. And I am speaking for Claudia Yakos, the interim director. And with the application is for actually making our building look a little better. It's looking a little tired. If you've driven by the Chambers building when you're coming into Pacific Avenue, you can see that it needs some paint. We also have a spot in the front where the parking is at, where it is not an even level parking area. So there's some safety concern there. And then we also are doing a new sign is going to be installed. And the city of Forest Grove has agreed to provide a stipend on that and to offset the cost. And what we'd like to do with that as well is have some lighting. And that's about it. This is quick, short, and that's really what we're asking.
Thank you, Evelyn. Questions from the committee members? No question. Evelyn, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Someone told me they couldn't hear me, so now I'm like tripping out about it. There are no questions at this point.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much. Have a nice night. Okay, so I just want to check back with rebuilding together Washington County. There's no one here or on Zoom to speak. Okay, so there's no objections from the committee. We're going to move on to that item G, which is deliberations. Well, you want to guide us through this portion?
In the past years, we had to work about funding and allocation, the ways of transfer for this year, we're going to have either funding grant or not funded as a whole grant. Yeah, as a group of people. And they agreed that you had CP grant, you would not all the funding through this. Primary spirit this fund without okay. You did February, and also part of the comments there of the instruction was it's CIP.
Okay, are there questions for staff before we begin the deliberations?
Yeah, if I could ask a quick question, following when you sent all the applications to Metro for advice on eligibility and other criteria, if you could share some of the reflections that you heard from your conversation.
Had a question, I sent all the applications, and first question, one of the issues was for like paying the grant. And there's no language to come from the metro code rules. They. And the grant fund we use was not again, those people wanted grant fund the grant activities. And so you're aware this person did send some of the applications, for legal team, and legal team did have some concern using 100% grant fund for grant release. Would not directly result in couldn't meet the program goals. And since they did not see either of the budgets, didn't see the budget, couldn't department 95% of the funds would be used that way. They should have to do the recommendation, you judge on the grant. And the other comments, most of the comments were on the 3 CIP applications. Me Foundation, instead of their measure of cost, it seemed like a big project that they have experience. The big project for startup, so the funding model second. That one. And we are asking the question on fund going to release the grant phase. On the city code application, Metro's historically given both areas a lot of flexibility in how they determine the project's meeting goals. To staff person team, the theory of event holiday lights are a bit of a stretch, but that's up to your committee. I know these types of projects have been funded in the past. In that person's opinion, 90,000 on investment, the series of events. And she didn't see the budget, so she couldn't speak as to how much they proposed and where they spent the funds. And he told me that only comments on these EP grants were rebuilding together from the grant boundary. We've been rebuilding together in the past. They're well aware of the fact they have to spend from the boundary. Me, that was the basically grant comment that I heard out. Those were Metro staff comment back on the review grants. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions for staff before we have our conversation? Okay, so again, Tony.
No, please.
Let's start with the community impact grant presentations. Let's make a decision about those 3 first, and then we'll move on to the other ones. Are we agreeing on that? Okay, I want to make sure. First, I want to make sure that everyone has space to talk, and I know, like, as a new member, sometimes it might feel like nerve-wracking. So, but I also don't want to put you on the spot. So I will just check in briefly to make sure. Okay. So let's start with the Mead Foundation presentation and project. I'm going to open it for discussion. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll come out with, as some might say, come out swinging here. You know, from reviewing the applications and from the feedback that, you know, received from my staff and talking with this, I could see a scenario where we make a recommendation where we don't award a CIP grant this year personally. And that's just, I know that's kind of bold, it's kind of big. And I welcome conversation just to set the tenor that, I know there are some very, you know, there's a strong community vision in these applications. But I just, in a lot of ways, I either see a lack of clarity and also, I question whether this is the biggest impact of this money, given the availability of tremendous resources to expedite in others, so without simulating application. So I'm curious to hear what people think, given that that's kind of my starting point of it being shown.
Councilor Ricky.
Well, so I think there's a need for what we're talking about. And that need is not only in the area of entrepreneurship and developing small businesses, but there's also a need for what was presented for the city club of more workshops, things like that. So from my experience on the last 6 years, there continues to be a need for classes, community education, those kinds of things. So the need is there, but I don't feel the organization is there yet. I think that there are indications of redundancy, and I think that the community would be better served by a more extensive collaboration and a better understanding of what is provided in the community already. Like, for example, through the library, but it's not provided, and what's the best way to provide it. So there needs to be some collaboration to develop a much more robust strategic plan. So in other words, they've got vision, they don't have, to me, the plan there yet to warrant this kind of funding at this point in time. So that's my thought process.
Community members, a lot of, do you have any?
No, I agree with what you mentioned.
Councilor Martinez? I agree with the comments that have been made to this point. Council President Hutchison? Oh, no comments. Oh, it's right. I was gonna be on.
I mean, it was
Okay, call it.
once you're here.
Okay, so then I'm gonna share my thoughts. Just, I don't wanna like repeat some of the things, but I agree. I mean, it's, yeah, the Mead Foundation, I think is, like, I think all of them, like, really good vision and definitely a need. When looking at systems and startups and seed money, I remember when we evolved into this community impact grant, as I'm listening to the presentations, like, I understand that it's this idea of like seed money to get it started. But then what is the additional, so there's like that level, like, hey, this is new, like grace, give some flexibility. But then also, and being a middle school teacher and doing this job for 8 years, like knowing, for me, it was really the budgets, like the budget, the planning, the materials, the personnel, like that is the roadmap to success. Like those, like the structures that have to be there in order for it to work. Like, so that's my feelings. Like I just kept asking myself, like, are you like, where is that Goldilocks? That's my phrase for this whole year, as I'm trying to be Goldilocks and find the bed that's just right. And I don't know if any of these three were there yet. So I would not be willing to persuade you out of what you said. I think too, like with the 3-year grant, we can say like next year and then maybe give this feedback and then that. Sure.
Yeah, if I could share, so glad that my temperature check wasn't way off the mark. And I really agree with what Councilor Ricky shared. I mean, the vision is there, the need is there, and then Mayor Wenzel, you've shared as well, just like that little bit of oomph that would help us make $90,000 commitment case, right, over 3 years. So I hope that these applications come back next year. I would say, because there's potential there. And for that reason, I guess I would make a recommendation or make a motion. Is that what I would do at this meeting, or
Maybe you could make a motion that you recommend that we move up on any of the community impact grants.
You want to add to that motion that you would appropriate those funds or leave those funds within the CEP fund for appropriation next year?
Yeah, so sorry, I misunderstood. I thought we were talking just simply about the Mead Foundation.
Oh, sorry, no, I was talking about
Because you.
all 3 CIG.
I did mention the city club as well, but I do think the Hope Community Networks application is in sufficient detail. There is a need there. And based upon our community's experience in realizing funding from other sources, to help with this issue, we are in a deficit, we are lacking. And this organization has been involved in those discussions from the very beginning and understands the network of funding and jurisdictions involved, the metro and the county. So I do think that this would in fact provide funding to start up something that is sorely needed in the community. We are lacking in those services right now. And I understand that there's more funding being made available by Metro, but that funding flows to the county and then somehow it does not flow directly to Forest Grove, it flows to nonprofits who may or may not be serving Forest Grove. So I see an absolute need to provide seed money to an organization to get something started now, rather than waiting until something gets developed later through Metro and the county. My experience doesn't show that that's flowing down sufficiently fast enough or effectively enough to have the kind of impact that this organization could have.
I mean, I want to make sure, because I want to respond, but also like want to facilitate responses from the other community members or more discussion. So I'm going to share my thoughts. So I was going back and forth with that too, like in my brain. And I think where I'm falling on it is and I'm just going to do historically, when we funded the Forest Grove Foundation for a community impact grant, the mousetrap, that's what my analogy is with the SHS, like those things hadn't been built out yet, right? Like they were in the process of building them. I believe the county has done their job, building those things out and has built a program. And that is where the money is. Community members of Forest Grove are paying that Metro bond, right? To fund shelter services. And I think it's our job a little bit to say like, this is where the money is. And this is Forest Grove citizens are funding it, and they're funding it through the Metro bond. And the county is working with nonprofits. So what I heard the Hope Network say is that they're doing the steps that they need to do to be eligible to get funding. But at a certain point, I mean, so that was kind of the deal. Like, I agree with you. Like, what is the seed money? Is the seed money then we say in the community enhancement program that we give them? Because this grant is for their house manager. The grants, that my understanding of the differences in grants, where the grant with CEP, the 10,000 grant is for their first last security, like to get them into the house. So for me, I guess my deal is I do feel there's a lot of funding. And we just got done with our budget meeting through the city. Like at some point you have to create like, this is the funding source for this is the funding source for that. If there wasn't that funding source and those structures weren't built out and the county didn't have these services, then I would be all in. But we do have something there.
But there are gaps in this field again. The county has not met the needs for all of the different needs out there with regard to availability, whether it's for families, for single mothers, for singles, for people with pets. All of those are those are needs out there, and they're not all being met. And so this program provides a need that is currently not being met by those programs and that funding. So it's a start. It's not intended to be a long-term funding stream, but I just think, it's great to have federal. But that's transitional housing for families. There has been help from the county with regard to cleanup and with the encampments. But this is a different need and a different niche that is currently not being met. So I don't see a problem with us providing support for that. Unless the county, the county's not focusing on meeting that niche right now. They're focusing on potential pods, which is a different aspect of the larger issue.
If I could, so Councilor here, you swayed me a bit with your points, and I have a potential compromise recommendation. So let me know what you think. I would then probably recommend, instead of a 3-year grant, a 1-year grant. So just like as a starting point for a conversation, because from what I've seen from this organization, from what they do, from how detailed their plans are, they will receive funds from the county. That's my thought with their vision. And so if we provide a bit of a significant first year seed grant to help them get going to set up that program, I think that's a great investment. And the reason that I say the 1 year is because, again, like I can't overstate the level of resources available. It would swallow this in comparison. Right. So you make really great points. You're right. This is a different kind of shelter. Is there a different kind of program experience for a different, and you're right. We're in a housing crisis, and when we're in this moment, all levers are good levers. So again, you've swayed me, and I would make that recommendation. And I hope that the committee would agree.
Well, let's ask a question of staff. And then I want to, in the terms of discussion, for me, one of the things I heard is I don't know if there's a gap with the county council review because they don't want to provide that service, or because the Hope Community Network needed to become a service provider, right? And what I heard Hope say was, we just got this status. And to me, so I think, I should have asked a follow-up question, but I assume that's what they needed to do with the county to be able to qualify for grants, to request for grants. But so my question to city staff is, or my question to you is, first, are you saying the 10,000? Or are you saying 1 year, 30?
1 year, 30,000, because when I go to provide a basic overview grant location program on their application, all of those things are fundable by this program.
So let's see what's,
Yeah.
can we even do that?
Yes, you can use modified support of 30,000 dollars a year. No, you do that.
So how does the committee feel about that compromise?
Yeah, well, please feel free to.
I would
disagree, agree.
love to hear from
Just an idea.
people who has.
My only thought about that, my only question is 1 year sufficient for them to secure a rental agreement? That's I would say maybe, so my thought is, well, okay, I hear what you're saying, compromise. Do we just do it for 2 years, 1 or 2 years? Is 1 year sufficient to give them, to get them any kind of a rental rate? And I'd like to repeat the fact that this is a model that meets Forest Grove's size and needs. We're not going to see affordable housing projects smaller than what we had at the Valkyrie project. That's currently not the model, the paradigm that the county is using in terms of developing affordable housing. It needs to be 30 units or more. We don't have those kinds of properties available, but we have many houses that could be used in this manner. And this is an effort to try, this is something that I can see being replicated, not only in Forest Grove, but in other small towns that have the same kind of problem. And they can, on a smaller scale that meets our needs. So I'm the kind of person that will go with a compromise and just throw the question out there. I'm not sure 1 year is sufficient. But if that's the consensus of the group, then I'll go along with it.
So I heard the presentation say that there were other, I'm just, I wanna like. Make sure like that there were other models like this and Beaverton and Hillsborough, like throughout the county that were effective and working. So. Like, I think it's a great one. I think this is a great, but I'm gonna be really honest. I'm really, really still stuck on this funding. Like, there is millions of dollars that people. Right, are paying towards this bond so I would support potentially, well, the staff wants to say something.
Just to clarify, the $30,000 CIP grant.
Yeah, so that's what.
Yeah, and then the application is a little confusing because that's the first line. And then the second line says the main expenses will be rent paid and the wages, so, but.
It's heavily paid by voucher. So,
Okay.
The revenue, how many vouchers from people who live in the house.
Yeah.
The 30,000 CIP grant house manager.
So my compromise, like, that's why, like, when I was like saying first is like, maybe there are other grant applications, so they can only get one grant or the other. So the CEG is for 10,000 for first class security, right? So like, that would, I mean, I don't know if that would even be enough, but I'm not feeling, yeah. I'm not really feeling comfortable with this. Like I'm not feeling, the compromise, the 30,000 for the house manager for a year, like I can maybe get behind, but really then what can we do? I guess like what I would be more comfortable saying is like, how can the city help work with the network, the nonprofit, to work with the county to make sure they've done the steps they need to do to get the funding from the county that has the $70 million.
Yeah, and again,
Long term.
and the reason for my proposal to shorten it is just because, if and when they are able to secure their agreement to do that work, then it doesn't lock in this grant for 3 years to where they ideally secure the resources. And, if they haven't secured the resources, this grant program will not be enough to run their programming, right? So they're making the success of their program, securing the money necessary to one, collect rent, cover the furniture, cover all those things, right? So I think that, having that flexibility is so important because next year there will have opportunities to invest in new projects, to invest in new initiatives. And so again, I hear you, Counselor, I 100% hear what you're saying. I do know that through the SHS measure that that the service providers, they are implementing those vouchers and working with the landlord to acquire these kind of properties. It's just not super public. As it's very hard to cite these kind of facilities. And so, it's a huge challenge. It's a huge challenge. And so, again, I just hope that people feel it's fair. I understand or not, but that's my proposal. So I would move to award a CIEG grant to the Hope Community Network for 1 year, amending the structure of the program for this single year period, for $30,000.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second,
The motion was moved by Chair Gonzalez, seconded by Councilor Rippey to award the Hope Community Network a $30,000 CIG grant, 1 year. And then to place to appropriate the rest of the money into next year. Okay, well, Jesse added a whole bunch of stuff. Okay. Are we good? Or we need to vote? Can I get a roll call vote? With discussion?
Can I ask you a question?
Well, yeah, you're right, we need discussion. Sorry, go ahead.
So just to understand, because the CEP is this, that was the grant, correct?
There's two grants, there's the community, so that, yeah, yeah, fine.
Okay. So the, yeah, CIG grant, okay. So I thought it was $10,000 a year for 3 years.
No, it's $30,000 every year for 3 years.
Okay, so yeah, okay, good.
Any other discussion or questions?
No questions. I agree with Councilor.
Okay, so let's do a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Wenzel,
Yes.
Councilor Martinez,
Yes.
Co-Chair Juan Carlos Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Rippy,
Yes.
Councilor Venezuela,
Yes.
Marissa Salgado.
Yes.
Thank you.
So that,
Just, I think that part of the process is still answering that first thing, but she was saying something. Yeah,
oh, saying,
yeah, she would still abstain or anyway. For me.
so the motion is approved by the CEG committee in a vote of, how many is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 to nothing. Thank you. I had no idea. Okay, moving on.
With one abstention.
Well, he's like, maybe, oh, yeah. Okay, we're moving on. Oh, like, moving on to item F. We're gonna look at the community enhancement grant presentation. Just to review, correct me if I'm wrong. This committee will award 3 $10,000 grants or can choose not to award. Up to 3 or not. Okay. So let's.
And for the community network, we can't vote for them anymore.
Right, so I can cross, good, yes, thank you, that's not, so let's cross them off our list. They're not eligible, Hope Community Network is not eligible for this. Let's go, okay. So now that leaves 6 projects, how do we want to go about discussing this? Any, well, if you also want to share their, maybe, let's just take turns sharing our opinions about that.
I can go first.
Okay, go for it.
Okay.
Well, you'll go second.
I'll just go first. So I like, first one is the rebuilding together. They have a long track record of helping people stay in their houses and helping the low income repair homes. I've actually worked with them for the last 6 years through my Rotary group and have repaired houses. So painted, repaired, they are well organized. They've got it all figured. And so for me, they fulfill the goals that we talked about pretty much all the way across the board. So I would vote for them. The other one that I vote for is the Elks. They also have a history of providing services to students, youth, and I'd like to see them continue to do that, particularly since there was, it was a struggle during COVID. We're coming out of COVID. I'd like to see them get some a boost and continue that good work into providing food. The other one, I'm a little torn between either. I like the foodways at Nana Cardoon. My only concern there is it's all private property. On the other hand, as I'm thinking, as I'm hearing myself speak, why wouldn't it be on private property, but it's on a private resident property. And while Charlene Murdoch is making this work and work relatively effectively, so she's got a lot of cooperation going. I think it's beneficial. I think it's again addressing the food security or stability issues. It's teaching people how to grow food and things like that. I've always been a big fan of gardening programs. So I'd like to see that continued as well. Those are the three that I would vote.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna go with,
I just want to ask a quick question. Can you repeat what you mentioned earlier about the money we have to award in this round with the 30,000 kind of locked in?
I'm sorry, you repeat the question.
So how many more grants can we award in the June?
Three $10,000.
3 full grants. Thank you. I just want to read one.
Funny enough, those are the ones that I had circled. I think that those all answer the question, especially the criteria 2 and 3, which are very important to me. Not only as a community member in the city, but as a mom and just providing diversity in everything that we're doing, being intentional with our time and our money, and how we're moving forward. So I think that out of the 7, those 3 really spoke to me, and I think that they were intentional, and I have hope that with having those in town, they can continue to provide that diversity and reach out to local populations.
thank you. So I'm gonna go with Councilor Martinez next.
So I also chose Rebuilding Together, Forest Grove Elks, and I was torn between the Prince Historic Forest Grove and the foodways. Because foodways is on private property, lack of really sufficient parking, that sort of thing. So those were mine. So I have those 2 main choices, and then I'm really torn on the other 2.
You want,
Yeah, I mean, maybe, customer as well, if there's anything you would like to share.
Councilor Valenzuela, do you want to share your top 3?
Am I remembering?
Okay.
Yes, there we go. So my top 3 would be the City Club of Forest Grove. I think the work is important. I have been to McMinnville and I have seen how nice it is. And I really appreciate the effort to beautify our city. And also number 3, the Friends of Historic Forest Grove. That aspect, and it's very important to me, and I think it's important for this town. So I would like to support that. And also Rebuilding Together Washington County. Those are my top 3.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna ask a clarification question. When we had a discussion about Council President Gustafson, can she give discussion on the other?
Yes, you do.
Okay, no. Okay. So,
Council seemed wary, and so I recused myself from conversation.
okay, I thought it was just on your context. Okay, that's good. I was trying to remember. Thank you. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Yeah, of course. So we have so many great applications that I try to make it numerical based off of the scorecard. And so I'll read off my top 5 with their score, because it was hard. Honestly, it's really hard. The highest score for me came out to 11.5, which is Foodways at Purdue. My second and third with 11 each for Forest Grove Elks and Rebuilding Together Washington County. After that was 9 points with Friends Historic Forest Grove, and then 8 points to Forest Grove Chamber of Commerce, and then the City Club was last. my rankings, but, I feel that same kind of tension between, you know, I hear the Friends of Historic Forest Growth mentioned the foodways and dynamic cartoon. But for me, the programming just really pop up the page, and as you can see by my rubric, I felt like hit the goal, the grant criteria really on point. So I would, if I had to choose, I would say foodways and dynamic cartoon, the Forest Growth Loves Food Program, and we're going together. But again, very hard decision. Some really hard decisions to make those.
Okay. So, I know, I'm just gonna, just a little disclaimer, when I first got elected on city council, I thought this was gonna be the most fun. Like, I was like, oh, I get to give away money, this is gonna be amazing. And then it like stresses me out. The process we used to have was terrible. Like, I mean, anyways, we don't need to go into it. So. Here I am.
formulaic, but it's still.
Yeah, so. So here I am 8.5 years later, and I'm still lucky. My heart is like breaking. So I just want to say a few comments, and you know, I think the city club, like, I know the vision. I just think that the budget, the working, like, I think there's like lots of good things there. And I know 100% that when you ask people what they love about Horse Grove, it's Holiday in the Grove. It's the sidewalk. I can go like 100% that those are the things. And I'm like, Oktoberfest completely killed this year. I mean that in a good way. I like old lady lingo, but that means good. So I just think that like organizing that for, you know, if we want to plan districts would be a good idea. But I think I know your vision, and it's great. I had 2 top 2 that for surely I support, and then I had a 3 and a 4. So for me, it's Forest Grove Elks and foodways and dynamic cartoons. And I, you know, and I understand what Counselor Griffey and Counselor Martinez said about private property with dynamic cartoons, but I also feel like rebuilding together, which is one of my top 3s as well. That they rebuild for private property too. So like the value in the programming and bringing kids to work with food, to grow food, to cook food, and that Charlie does a really good job of. That equity work is just, I think, really valuable. And, you know, we can't say what's gonna happen in a few years, but it's worth it for right now. So my 3 and 4 are rebuilding together and Friends of Historic Forest Grove. And it's an interesting thing because there's both really good programs that had great applications and like I think would be successful in their project. Rebuilding together is a need we need right now. It's a current need, and same with Friends of Historic Forest Grove. And then like knowing in the future that Friends of like A.T. Smith House could be a historic, it is a historical site that could be a heritage park for the city. There's like that added value to it. So anyways, I'm fine with, and like how I just like that. My 3 and 4 between those 2 would be Friends of Historic Forest Grove and rebuilding together. But my top 2 are Forest Grove Elks and foodways and cartoons. So did anyone take a running tally?
I have a mental.
I haven't meant to tally with the top. Yeah, city staff.
Show.
I think it kind of depends on how the committee would like to go through it. If you'd like to have somebody make a motion in the second, first choice, and then maybe on the second choice, maybe on a third choice. We do have some tallies going. I can give you kind of what the tallies are so far. If you like, the one that's probably had the most has been rebuilding together. But some we heard comments that were, you know, kind of ties and so forth. So just be mindful of that. Forest Grove Elks, Nanny Cardoon, Friends of Historic Forest Grove City seem to be within the top 4.
So what are the top 3?
The top 3, I think, would be rebuilding together Forest Grove Elks and Nanny Cardoon. If I did my math.
That checks with my mental list.
That checks with my mental list.
Yeah.
Okay, so. Do we have, I would entertain a motion on the floor. And I think, you know, I know Jess said one at a time, but I would be fine with a bundle.
I'd like to make a motion that we award the CEP grants of $10,000 to each of Rebuilding Together Washington County, Forest Grove Elks, number 2440, and the foodways at Nanacar Ditch.
I second. That was moved by Councilor Rippey and seconded by Councilor Martinez and committee member Salvador. Why is it going on? So we'll give it to Martinez. Discussion from the committee.
The only discussion I'll say is, every year it's so hard to make these decisions and really rich dialogue. I love it. I love coming to the, for the CP and, thank you to staff for supporting and, being open to new processes, as some would say. And I think that the grants that we're making today are gonna make a really big impact, of course. So that's it. Thank you.
I would echo what Councilor Gonzalez says. I also want to say that this whole process has evolved since I've been on council, and I really did like it when I first got on council. This is far more reasonable. It's impactful. I think we have moved into the direction where we need to go to really have impact on the community. So I'm really pleased with all the applications. I think all of them do express a need. I think there are different levels of application, but they all express a need. And I would like to see that somehow they get some funding in some way, continue their vision. Yeah. And thanks to staff.
Any other comments? Okay, not hearing any roll call votes, please. We didn't vote. No, that was just a discussion, so yeah, I'm like, I see people back up, I'm like, we gotta vote.
It's late.
We gotta make it official.
Mayor Wenzel,
Yes,
co-chair Carlos Gonzalez,
Happily, yes.
Councilor Gustafson,
that's same.
Councilor Martinez,
Yes,
Councilor Rippey,
Yes.
Councilor Valenzuela,
Yes.
community member Marisa Salgado.
the motion passes with a vote of 6-0. Thank you all, with one recused or abstention. Please. And with that, I adjourn this meeting of the city committee. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for volunteering. Thank you so much.
Madam Mayor.